You know, things were like fine. They would be fine within maybe like the first hour or so of the show airing. And then all of a sudden it was like you entered the fifth layer of hell when when everyone logged on and started fighting.
Mm-hmm.
Hey guys, welcome to LoveCast, the BL podcast. I'm your host, Kayla, and with me, as always, are my co-hosts, Pixie and Alexa. Hey.
Hello.
So today's topic was requested by a commenter on one of my recent videos. I did a video where I was basically talking about the role of secondary couples in BL and some controversies that have been happening in online BL spaces about screen time distribution between secondary couples and main couples, etc. So yeah, this person really wanted to hear the rest of the team's thoughts on the discourse, and we're gonna give it to you because why not? We give the
If it's
people
what
what
the
they
people
want.
want. The one person who wanted this.
The one person, the people, one person. One,
people.
it's like how people are like, if you can even impact one person's life, then it's
Exactly.
like you impacted a dozen, something like that.
Yep.
But yes, this has been a hot topic for a while now.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to get into a lot of things today. I believe we have a previous episode just talking about second couple syndrome in general.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we went really in depth with any discourse in that episode, just talking about like the
No.
role that it
I
plays.
don't know if it
Yeah,
even
I think
existed to that level.
Yeah, no, the
to
discourse
this level
wasn't
back
there
then. This is
back
like, I feel
then.
like, and I think we'll get into it. It's tied into more
Yeah.
recent phenomenons in the BL space, but yeah.
I think we were more discussing like the role of the second couple and how it affects people and stuff like that.
Second couple syndrome
Yeah.
as a phenomenon and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So I guess search for that video, check it out. I can't remember how long ago
Oh
we
God,
recorded it.
it's long ago. It's at least 2
To be honest,
years, maybe
I forgot
3.
it happened until you said it just now. So
Well,
I'll try and link a little card thingy in the video.
it's out there somewhere, but we're going to go much more in depth with things today. So I guess kind of as a refresher on that topic, we can start by talking about the role that the secondary couple plays in a BL series. Because they're pretty much an integral part of that classic story structure that we see in BL. Like you always have the main couple who are the focal point of the series. The story mainly centers around them and their relationship development. And then you have the side couple who run parallel to the main couple. Sometimes they're used as like a foil for the main couple. They're there to complement the main couple. And I also think that they help a lot when it comes to the world building. Because, of course, when you have like more characters and those characters are all connected, the world that they exist in just feels a little more immersive. It
Yeah,
feels a little more
and you
real.
you get to see the world from a different point of view as well, other than just the two main characters. Because in BL, it's so centered around the characters always, so you just get to see it from one, like both the main couple's points of views. If you don't have a side couple, and for me, I've always experienced side couples as this reprieve for the drama whenever the main couple is having like this fighting moment or whatever. You kind of sort of still get like a glimpse of romance and can still like feel a little cozy inside even though there's shit happening. So yeah.
Yeah, I think they like historically offer something different from the main couple. So like you said, if the main couple is experiencing drama or has like a really heavy storyline, then a lot of the times the side couple is more comedic, or the side couple will provide the spice to the main couple's like fluff. And that's not always the dynamic, of course, but I think like historically they offer something that the main couple doesn't necessarily offer overall or isn't offering at that point in the story.
A very good example of this is Until We Meet Again, because Boone and Prem's characters are kind of like the little bit of humor with a little bit of spice that you're not getting in the drama of the other two, because that's a drama on a whole different level. And imagine that without Boone and Prem's characters.
I think the side couple, usually any type of conflict they have isn't as serious as the main couple. Sometimes I guess it is, but yeah, they definitely do offer a reprieve, a type of break from the main couple, even if there's no drama going on. Sometimes it's just nice to switch over to two other characters and be like, oh, what's
different
going
POV.
on with them?
100%.
Yeah, so and of course I feel like we have to note that like secondary couples is not just a BL thing. Like I feel like across all genres, all countries, all media, I would say most shows nowadays will feature multiple romantic pairings, multiple romantic couples, their stories being told at once. So like just for funsies, I was trying to think of Western examples of like very popular side couples. And the first one I thought of was Ian and Mickey from Shameless.
Oh.
Because Shameless is a show that like you have that large ensemble cast. So I feel like pretty much every character has some type of love story, situationship type thing going on at any point in time throughout the seasons. And Ian and Mickey, in like the grand scheme of things, their screen time doesn't really take up a lot of the show. Like I have recently watched the entire series over again, and you kind of like are grasping for the scenes that they have, their moments, but those moments that they do have, I think, are really impactful. And so a lot of people are a fan of Ian and Mickey, including myself.
Yeah, no, Ian and Mickey, oh my God, Galovich. I feel like, and even though like they were technically a side couple, like I feel like aside from, I'm forgetting their neighbors' names because I haven't watched that show in so long, but like the married couple, like Ian and Mickey were like the staple romance of that show, despite them not necessarily being the main characters, because Fiona was the main character, and then of course it was an ensemble cast. But I feel like if you think about romance and Shameless, like you're thinking about Ian and Mickey before you think about anything else. So it's definitely like the side couple that stole the show type situation there, I think.
I will say that like for most, like a lot of the Western shows nowadays, especially the ones that are popular in Norway, there's a lot of switching around with the couples. Like it's not
Everyone dates everyone.
right. So that's where like BL, especially like the setup that we're used to, is very off. Off. Because dude, if they were to do a whole that would,
I mean, we've kind of seen them try to do it. We've kind of seen them try to do it with Only Friends. Which will,
but they were
we know we'll get into it later.
Careful about it though.
But yeah, no, I was trying to think of like shows where the second, like the first one that came to mind with me is not even a real couple. Like it was a fanon couple, but I thought of Styles and Derek from Teen Wolf. Literally, and I didn't even like that ship when I was watching Teen Wolf, but like they are, if you think about Teen Wolf, like that is the most popular couple to come out of that show. And they weren't even official, but like people historically hated like Scott, the main character. All of his romantic relationships were so, what's the word I'm looking for? Less enticing to the people, I guess, compared to like the potential of this relationship that people perceived between Styles and Derek in Teen Wolf. So even though like they weren't official, like that was the first one that came to mind for me, which was, but yeah, I was having a hard time thinking of like a show with like an actual couple that like was a secondary couple that people really like latched onto.
Yeah, I mean, like in How I Met Your Mother, the main character is technically, oh God, I can't remember his name, but he has the friends who are like a couple throughout the whole thing. So it's kind of like a different setup that where you have like an established couple that's sort of side characters in the sitcom, and then someone who's searching for love if for like what 7 seasons.
I don't know.
That is wild.
One truth about me is that I have not watched a lot of the classic like American sitcoms from the late 90s and early 2000s.
Yeah, no.
I loved How I Met Your Mother. I'm not gonna lie.
But yeah, probably a lot of the sitcoms have that kind of setup going on. But jumping back into the BL of it all.
Yes.
So we have seen this fight for screen time distribution between different BL pairings getting more and more intense, seemingly day by day, show by show. So why is it that like this fight is getting more intense? What's going on? I think the big reason, the glaring obvious cause, is shipping culture.
Yeah.
Because the competition between BL pairings has just become so increasingly cutthroat over maybe the last 2 years, definitely into this year. And fans are kind of in this mindset where they want their favorite ship to be front and center, so that their pairing can receive more attention, more opportunities. And I also think that people enjoy the bragging rights that come with it.
Yeah.
So, like, if the show inevitably does well, they can look at the numbers and be like, my faves pulled these numbers. This show did these numbers because of my faves, type of thing. And then there's also been this growing sentiment about, like, this ship is more deserving of their success than this ship because they work harder, or they're bringing in more money for the show to fund it. And that is incorporated in it as well, which kind of leads into the point about sponsorships.
Yeah, I feel like the like duo here that is working together to like create this environment is like the existing shipping culture combined with the whole engagement epidemic that we've talked about on here more than once, because we know now that so many of like these brands and the companies are using engagement to decide who gets work, who gets what brand deals, who gets what when it comes to work outside of shows. I think the idea of having your pairing get more screen time, thus the potential for more engagement, thus the potential for more brand sponsorships, more work outside of the show, and then the potential for more shows in the future, the more work you get. Like, it's just made it so cutthroat, basically, and like fans are constantly fighting for that viewership because they think the engagement is what will get their phase work, which like I said, we've talked about a lot before. But,
yeah. And I will say, in my opinion, like this whole contestants about like, okay, we're centering the show around the ship instead of the show around the story is ruining BL. It is completely ruining the storytelling, and it could like it makes a show that could have been great flop in certain aspects because it's too obvious that they're making compromises to keep the actors on screen more, and I hate it.
Yeah. There's also the aspect of like, you know, we have had industry people come out and talk directly about the engagement and like how important it is. Like we had was it the CEO of GMMTV?
Pita, yeah.
Pita. he came out and was like directly talking about how they really are trying to push engagement and trending. And I think the fans like definitely see that and they're like, okay, so this is how it is. We have to keep going like harder and harder for our favorite pairing, or they're going to kind of fall to the wayside. They're going to be maybe neglected. There's a lot of like allegations of certain pairings being neglected by companies that come in, and it just like all affects this shipping culture that keeps getting crazier and crazier.
Yeah. I do think that fans think that the engagement means more than it actually does, because if engagement was everything, then we would have seen like there are really popular pairings who aren't getting as much attention from like GMM TV. If you look at some of their popular ships, they're not giving them enough, what do you call it? Like advertisement? Promotion?
Yeah. Basically advertisement.
Yeah, and they're huge. So like it makes no sense that they shouldn't get it, considering all the engagement from the fans. But
yeah, I do think it is like this cycle basically of like, say your pairing doesn't have an upcoming show, then there's nothing for you to tweet about to build engagement. Then there's no engagement for companies to analyze or whatever the fuck they do with that data to decide who they're gonna offer a job to. And it's like this cycle of like, yeah, I definitely don't think like engagement is, it can't be the only factor that people are looking at, but like they have talked a lot about how it is a major factor now. But yeah, I think because fans know that's the one thing that they can actually impact, I think that's the thing that they hone in on as like the important factor.
Yeah, but I do think they think it means more than it does.
I also wonder how they compare like the engagement in Thailand to the engagement internationally, like which one they value more. Do they value that stuff is trending and has higher engagement in Thailand because that's like where everything's coming from?
Yeah.
Or do they put more weight on international trending?
I really
at least
do
recently
wonder how much more do they earn from Thai engagement compared to international engagement? Where is like the money, like where are they getting the most money? Probably from Thailand, obviously. But how much is the difference? Like, because obviously they've been focusing on internationals, and there are a lot of people traveling to Thailand to see the building, to come to the concerts and fan meets and all of that. So there should be some sort of like numbers there. I would be so interested to see GMM TV's numbers.
Yeah, just knowing more about how it works. It honestly reminds me a lot of K-pop as well, because I think there used to be this mindset of like, since the group is established in South Korea, that's where all the money is coming from. But I feel like recently there are a lot of groups where they only really make money internationally.
Yeah.
So it reminds me a lot about that. It's very interesting. But yes, anyway. Was that off topic? I don't know. It all relates in some way.
It's all intertwined.
It's all intertwined. But yeah, we kind of already touched on some of the ways that we're seeing the shipping culture and this need for engagement influence the shows themselves. The big one is quality control. Like, so many people have noticed this decline in quality of BL series, whether it's the writing, characterization, the production aspects itself. And I guess that this is kind of a subjective area. Like, I might think that a show is badly written and that the production quality isn't great, but someone else might be like, oh, I love this. I think it's great. So I don't think either side is necessarily wrong in that, but I do see that a lot of people are agreeing that generally across the board, BL shows are kind of lacking in the writing department recently, whether it's like there being certain plot holes that are never filled, character development that never quite, like, I don't know, feels complete, things like that.
Yeah, I also think that when we ship some actors, we tend to be more forgiving to whatever is happening in the show. Meanwhile, if you really don't like that pairing, you tend to be more critical than deserved. So there's too much focus on the pair.
Yeah, I guess with GMMTV series, it's very apparent. Just because, like, they're a company where, like, one BL finishes airing, another one immediately takes its spot. There's no downtime in between, pretty much, like, whatsoever. There's always this constant stream of BL shows being released. So inevitably, things just feel kind of rushed on the production part. It's almost like there's like higher ups. This is what I really think is there's like higher ups that are telling the production side of things that they really need to really need to speed things up to get the show out. And it just like all has to do with the profit at the end of the day.
Yeah. I mean, if you compare it to Western shows, the
that pisses me off too, that they take 5 years to release a second season of the show. Like, there's no in between.
No, like it takes such a long time for Western shows to get the seasons done. But here they're like
season a year,
pushing things out like in a month. It's pretty crazy. Like, I would say The Next Prince, like we were talking about how long it took. But it's like half the time of a Western show, so not really that long.
Literally. Yeah. I think GMMTV is an interesting... I will say they are not the only company that has this issue. I know we talk about GMMTV a lot because they release so many shows, but there are plenty of other companies that have these issues as well. But I think with them, especially recently, because based on the last showcase... they are putting all their eggs in the BL and GL basket, whereas previously they had a decent mix of both hetero and BL GL shows, versus some of these other companies have always only existed as like a BL company. Like Damundi has never released a hetero. Well, they have like ensemble series and stuff like that, but they've primarily focused on BL over the years. Studio Wabi Sabi has always been a BL company. Idol Factory has always been BL and GL, but GMMTV is a company that previously released hetero series, then turned into a mix, and are now putting all of their eggs in the BL and GL basket. So I think that also factors into why we're seeing such a rush on production, because they don't have any other type of shows to put out. There's a couple of hetero shows that they still have in the wings that like they haven't released yet, but like if they have this idea that they always need to have something on air, especially like because they're also on network TV, they have the GMM 25 channel, then like that also puts that pressure on production to be like speeding through getting these shows done so that they always have something to have on air, which once again, I don't think it's not good for the quality of the shows. We can say that much. Even if a show ends up good, even if a show turns out good, I don't think rushing through a production is good for anyone involved. Like, people are probably ending up overworked to produce that quality of show, whether it be the people editing, the people doing subtitles, the people doing the effects and stuff like that. Like, it's not, like you said, Kayla, it's not sustainable in the long run.
No, it's really not. And I guess the companies seem to be willing to take the fall for the decline in quality, since people are still watching the shows. And people are still watching the shows because their favorite BL ship is in it. Guilty. Guilty as charged.
I'm like, I'm no better than anyone else when it comes to this. So like I'll say it. I watch shows because my faves are in it. Like, I think that's what most BL fans do if they have a favorite ship.
Yeah. Yeah, I think like at this point with all the shows that are out now, the only shows that I'm watching for the actors, because honestly, the quality of show is for me not the greatest right now. Maybe I just have high expectations, but yeah, that that's
It's
what
hard
it is.
not to have high expectations when you get like these certain shows that just like blow everything else out of the water. Like for me, that would be like I Feel You Linger in the Air. Currently, it's Chemjira for a lot of people. Like whenever you see what the
Reset
standard
was
could be,
amazing.
it's like everything else kind of pales in comparison in a way.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is true. It is definitely true that a lot of these shows have become just kind of like a vehicle to promote the BL pairing. I even notice it in the fact that I'll refer to a show as like so and so show.
Yeah.
Like I'll be like, "Oh, that is Boon Prem's show. That's so and so show."
I think it becomes really apparent, the problem, when you see it shows like from Japan and from Korea or stuff like that, because they don't have the same issues with storytelling. Like there are issues with storytelling there as well, but it's not because the shows are centered around the ship or the actors. It's other reasons.
Other issues.
Yeah. It's just crap writing. It's not because it's centered around the character. So, but it's just so glaringly like an issue when you compare a show from South Korea to one from Thailand, and just like it's so obvious.
Just like the machine of it. Just like it feeling like a machine of advertising. Basically, some shows really just feel like advertisements for a particular BL ship, and so the companies I think realize
Or
that
brands sometimes.
Yeah.
yes, heavy on that. But yeah, I think the companies are just willing to kind of rush things out and maybe not have as strict quality control, because it's like, yeah, even if the fans complain about the show, even if they don't necessarily enjoy certain aspects, we're still getting the numbers, hopefully.
Yeah.
So
And that's
They'll earn the
because
money either way. So
and that's because people feel like they have to watch the shows and engage
And
with them if they
promote
want their
it.
faves to keep getting work. Like the
yeah,
cycle.
buy the merch.
yeah,
Even
it's
though it's
honestly
crap.
crazy. It's crazy that like fans feel like it's their responsibility to keep these actors employed.
Yeah.
Like it really is crazy. It's like, if I don't watch this show, does that mean that they're not going to get like their next acting opportunity? Does that mean that they're not going to get engagement, so the company's not going to invest in them? It's really symbiotic but parasocial.
Yeah.
But also like I get
Yeah.
it, because you're like, you want to support them because you want to see more of them. But it gets to a
Yeah.
point.
And I think that's what's like made also like the shipping wars so much more volatile. Like there's this like perceived competition between all of these pairings now and all these actors, even though like they're fucking best friends. Like they're all
Yeah.
friends with each other, but because like there is this perceived competition between like my person needs this much screen time or my person needs this show to be able to get this type of like accolade or whatever they're looking for. Like that's what's made the shipping culture and the shipping war so much more like volatile in the recent years. When like and like I kind of like wanted to touch on this like in the next section of this section, the next part of this section, when like if you look back at like some of these like ensemble shows or shows with multiple ships in previous years, like fandoms coexisted relatively well.
Yeah.
Like when I think about some of the shows I watched in like 2018, 2019, 2020 that had multiple pairings, like I don't think of discourse on Twitter that interrupted my enjoyment of the show, you know?
Yeah, I can't remember when we were watching My Engineer that people were actually complaining about screen time. I think people were complaining years after that Ram King didn't get enough, but...
And it's like, even if they wanted more screen time, like, they didn't put it on the other pairings in the show as being at fault, which I think is like, now it's like, my ship is more deserving of time than this ship, versus like, hey, it would have been cool if this side pairing that I really enjoyed got more screen time because their story was really compelling and things like that, you know?
Yeah.
Even that, like, shift mentality is interesting, because I feel like the appeal for a lot of people with side couples is that you don't really get as much from them. So you can kind of fill in the gap kind of with your own imagination. Yeah. They're like teasing you with the side couple, but you enjoy it.
Yeah, but they're supposed to be kind of a filler for the story. There's
a little bit of edging for the people.
That's one way to say it.
It was in my head. I had to say it. I had to let the thought out.
Something like I would say, like, what you're channeling me right now. Oh my god. Oh, I'm losing my touch.
We're just becoming one.
Yeah.
The hive mind.
One entity.
Oh my god. Yeah. Yeah, no, like the side couple is supposed to be that. It's a side thing. Like it's a filler, basically. A filler while you wait for the main couple to kind of get their shit together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Essentially. Was there anything else on the ensemble show point you wanted to mention?
Yeah, I was just like thinking about ensemble shows. Like, I feel like they should be like a really fun way to see like interactions and like different actors within a company acting together and getting to see those friendships during the promotion and getting to see like actors get closer with each other as they spend time like doing these shows together, like these ensemble projects. Like, I feel like the appeal of an ensemble project is supposed to be the big cast and like all of the silliness that can ensue with having a series with a big cast and having all of the fun that comes with like having all these different characters interconnected. But like, I feel like, as is going to be demonstrated in some of the examples of the shows that we'll talk about, even shows that are promoted as an ensemble, where hypothetically, like, I think of an ensemble show differently than like a show with a main couple and a side couple. Like, in my head, in an ensemble show, I'm thinking about something like Perfect 10-liners or We Are or Only Friends. Like, the screen time is meant to be distributed maybe not perfectly evenly, but like a little bit more evenly than a show that has main couple, side couple. So like, in my head, like, if I'm thinking about an ensemble show where hypothetically the screen time should be fairly even now, like, watching an ensemble show, fans still have expectations that even though this is an ensemble show with 4 pairings that are all considered the main pairing in the show, my pairing should still be the main pairing that gets the most screen time in the show because they have the more compelling storyline, or they have the better acting or the better chemistry or whatever it might be. So it feels like it's taken a lot of the fun out of, at least for me personally, what I used to enjoy about watching ensemble shows and seeing like a big cast together, because like there is still that expectation that even though this is a show with a group of however many actors, there still should be, in fans' mind, 2 actors that take the lead in an ensemble show, which is not how I view it, I guess, in my lens, if that makes sense what I'm saying here.
Yeah, I think it will be really interesting to see how people react to the second season of Only Friends, because there's not really like a main couple of that show. And with all the discourse now, because it's gotten worse since the first season, it'll be interesting to see how people react.
Which is crazy, because the discourse in the first season of that show, like, genuinely ruined my enjoyment of a lot of that show. So it does not have me excited for what might come with future ensemble shows. But yeah.
So I guess my big question with all this talk of screen time distribution is if it's really a problem. Is it really a problem? Is there an issue with the screen time distribution in shows? And personally, the more I thought about it, I really don't think it's the screen time distribution that's the problem so much as it's the way that that screen time is being utilized. So like is the couple showing like proper development in their relationship? Does it feel like their scenes are just like filler that doesn't really contribute anything to the story or their characters really? Does their storyline connect back to the main plot? That's a big one because in some of the examples we'll mention that like the characters feel really disconnected. Which just I think adds to the fact that the relationships, the side couples, it just feels like they almost like don't exist in the same universe sometimes. But yeah, on the flip side, I feel like there are some examples where people can genuinely agree that there was a side couple that kind of deserved more, like justice for them. They deserved more screen time to kind of flesh out their story. I thought of Win Team, honestly, and Until We Meet Again. If we forget that Between Us happened, forget that happened, which we all
forget it.
Yeah, I mean, Between Us happened because Win Team was... I mean, I know the novels existed. Hemp and the Until We Meet Again novels have both existed separately. But I feel like the Between Us series maybe would not have been produced if Win Team in the show hadn't been, and Boon Prem as Win Team hadn't been so compelling to the audience. So yeah, that's definitely one where...
I will say with Win Team, I think a lot of people sat with the feeling that they had a really compelling story, but we didn't get to see any of it. It's they were giving you teasers of how their story unfolds, and you're just like, oh, everything
you knew it was happening in a parallel
in the background. And you're just like, oh, I want to know what's going on. So that's why they became so popular. But
yeah, 100%. Yeah, I think Ram King is an interesting example because, like you said, Pixie, I think people always latched onto them as like a secondary couple that they enjoyed throughout the entirety of the show. But I think once the realization hit that a second season was not going to happen and their story had ended on such a cliffhanger, then people were retroactively like frustrated that the show built them with a second season in mind, not knowing that would happen. And then that's when they kind of felt retroactively like maybe they could have given them more within the original series.
Because while I was watching My Engineer, I never felt like any of the couples didn't get enough screen time. They had a lot of couples. It made sense that not everyone were getting like the main screen time going. I think they had a good balance for what it was. But that was having
under
been
the
told
impression
that there would be a season two
is coming to be continued.
Oh, God.
That goddamn to be continued slide
came, and it was brutal because you're literally being left on a ledge. It was the same with Oxygen.
Oh God!
The second couple there, like forget about the girl and the doctor. Forget that. That didn't happen. But like the second couple there, like it ends with him going out of the country, I think. Like I can't even fucking remember.
Something like that.
But yeah, and I loved them. And I was just like, I was okay with it ending there if I got a second season. But we didn't.
Yeah, that's why I'm surprised when second seasons actually happen. Which we'll talk about Pit Babe season 2. But that leads into... that leads into my I guess just my observation of like if you think about it from a technical standpoint, the side couple has less screen time for a reason, and the reason is that they're not the main couple. So like just from that perspective, it's that simple. Like they wouldn't be the side couple if they had the same screen time distribution or more.
Yeah, that's always been kind of my mindset, and I think that's why in my head, like historically a lot of the time, like I don't get attached to the secondary couple, because in my head I'm like, okay, well I know this isn't the couple the show is gonna focus on. So like I've always found it interesting when, like, not interesting, because I can understand getting attached to the second couple and wanting to see more from them. But I don't think it's necessarily like, I think a lot of people conflate like the secondary couple not getting as much screen time as they would maybe like with the show being written badly. And I don't think like that's always necessarily the case. I think that's something that's kind of, I don't know if frustrated is the right word, but I've seen that conversation happen a lot where like if you're attached to the second couple and they're not getting as much screen time as you would like to see them have, then like you chalk it up to the show being done badly. But like you said, Kayla, at the end of the day, like on the technicality alone, like they're not going to have as much screen time as the main couple. And like the desire to want more screen time for them is totally valid, but it's also not necessarily like a fault of the show that they don't have more screen time.
I've been thinking a lot about the next prince, going a little bit into our next point, because I've been thinking about like what is it with the storytelling there that is making, like, I have an issue with all the pairings, all of the screen time. But I realized that I think this biggest problem is that it's too romance focused for a plot that's supposed to be like an adventure plot. Like the side couple with Ramil and Patai. Their couple is supposed to show the point of view from the other kingdom, like behind the scenes of the other kingdoms or kings, whatever. It's supposed to show a part of that, but they're focusing too much about their BDSM thing. But like, I think they should show it. That's not what I'm saying. I think that they just spent too much time on it and not enough time on the politics. And the same with Z and Nunu. Like the spicy scenes were too long. Not complaining. I just for like the story aspect, it was too long. It felt like it took forever, but it did so with both couples, and I think like they should have spent more time actually focusing on the adventure and politics and all of that, and not so much on the romance. That's like what I've come to realize after thinking about it a lot.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of touched on this. Well, not kind of. We talked about this a lot in our deep dive of The Next Prince. But yeah, I think the thing with the series is that they took out a lot of the elements that integrated those discussions of politics and the kingdoms more naturally. And then, like Kayla mentioned, like the connecting of the characters. Like there were certain elements in the novel that facilitated more discussions about the politics that were going on and the things that were going on behind the scenes that they chose not to include in the series, namely like not like the competition and like that being a way Kanin gets connected with so many different people in the kingdom, and it even connects him with Ramil more in the novel and things like that. So yeah, I think that is why that felt that way to me. But yeah, and I think that also like kind of ties into the secondary characters in that show, and how they were utilized, because the ways they were utilized in the novel made them more fleshed out as characters compared to the series. But like the discourse around the couples when that show was airing was just on a whole different level. That was even beyond, I feel like that was even beyond the plot of the show, and that was just like beef happening.
Ongoing beef, going beef that originates from like not even just this show, but yeah, every day You know, things were like fine. They would be fine within maybe like the first hour or so of the show airing. And then all of a sudden it was like you entered the fifth layer of hell when when everyone logged on and started fighting. But I mean, some of the complaints about the show were that some Xenonu fans thought the Ramil and Peitai scenes distracted too much from the main plot, but you also had some fans that were upset with Sharon and Kanin's scenes because they felt like there was too much of that filler that you mentioned, Pixie, of just like, I guess, showing a lot of cute romantic moments instead of like what is actually going on in the world politically. And then you had Jimmy Ohm fans and I feel like general viewers were disappointed by a lack of screen time with Ramil and Peitai, which is interesting because you said that like they focused too much on the BDSM thing, but a lot of people felt like they didn't focus enough on it and that like it didn't do it justice.
Yeah,
I think it didn't
like
capture
it's more
the complexity.
Yeah, I think it's more about how they
was.
used the time when they were focusing on it. Like just showing them in their lace shirts sitting in bed. Like they they spent too much time on things that didn't matter when they were showing it. Like they should have incorporated more feelings and more story and just in general explain their relationships in a better way. It felt really drawn out, but in a very negative way because they did show them a lot, but you didn't get anywhere. Like you weren't given enough with what you got, like the screen time you got. Like it wasn't used well.
Yeah, I agree with that. And then, I mean, there's nothing that we can really say about Calvin and Jay. I just wonder if their addition was even necessary. Some people think that, well, originally there were different people in those roles. I believe it was Thomas and Kong.
It was Thomas and Kong, yeah.
And then they were replaced by Net and JJ, and people think that that was a very deliberate replacement, putting Net and JJ in there so that they could promote them before Love Upon a Time happens, which I kind of believe. I feel like a lot of productions, a lot of companies do that where
they'll introduce a couple as a side couple in a show, and then later on you'll see them getting a series down the line.
Honestly, the way they did that couple in this show was not great for promotion.
I'm not gonna lie, they were like teasing me with them a little because I was like, I want to see more of this, but I think part of that might be like my Net bias kicking in, which I'm gonna acknowledge that. But what was I gonna say? I was going somewhere with that thought and I completely
their romance in the show was a dead fish. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. That reminded me. I've seen people say that maybe they should have made their relationship a friendship instead of a romance, and I kind of agree with that. Because there would be something really heartbreaking about like, for I guess like Calvin, it's like this person's like really his only close friend, and then he ends up lying to him, and it's like a friendship falling out sort of. I almost feel like a friendship falling out type thing would have had more weight to it than like
it makes more
romance
sense
that they might have had.
No, they didn't.
Like, why did they even like each
romance
other
at all?
Who knows? Did Jay even like him? I don't even know.
I talked about that in our Pit Babe deep dive that I didn't understand where Jay's feelings came from, but like, hey, we got an hour 30-minute deep dive and people really want to get into the nitty gritty.
Go listen to that.
But yeah, all this to say that the side couple discourse, I feel like it was very much reignited again by The Next Prince. That is like the big example. And another big example was Pit Babe season 2. Pit Babe, my beloved. I mean, there are 5 couples in Pit Babe. That's not even counting like all the other characters that still hold like very important roles in the series. But like 5 couples, I feel like there's no way that you could ever have an equal screen time distribution between them. You can't even have an equal like character time distribution between them.
There's how, like, yeah, like you said, because like even if you take out the characters that like 5 couples is 10 characters there alone, plus like the other, like, isn't that cast like 14 people in total or something like
Yeah.
that? Like, there is no, for 45 to 50-minute episodes, like that was never
Yeah.
gonna happen.
Yeah, it
Honestly, I
really
never finished season 2 because I got bored.
See, the thing is, I still love Pit Babe season 2 because I feel like a lot of people really took it seriously. Like they really were upset about the screen time distribution, which I will discuss. But to me, the show just isn't that serious. So like even though like my faves are Silab and Pawn, like Jeff and Alon, but like I honestly didn't even mind not seeing as much of them because I was like, this is just Pit Babe. This is just how things are. But yeah, Pavel and Pooh obviously are the main pairing in Pit Babe, so they had the most screen time. But again, it comes back to how they utilize that screen time because the main issue that a lot of viewers had was that Pavel and Pooh's screen time were just NC scenes. And I can confirm this. I even like had an inside joke of like, oh, they're on screen, so you know they're gonna be going at it. Like it felt like it was every scene, honestly. So this is like a genuine, I guess, issue that people had with the show. Is, you know, since Babe and Charlie have a lot of their screen time is a lot of NC scenes, people are thinking that like it took away time that could have been redistributed to another pairing to, I guess, develop their story more, to show more of it. And then there were some controversies with the production team cutting out scenes for certain couples. Like I mentioned the thing with Silab and Pawn where their NC scene in the finale was cut out and they had no idea that it was going to be cut out. And then like since then I've learned that Michael in Top 10 also had some scenes cut of theirs. So it just felt like very biased. It felt very biased against like any of the other couples in the show other than Babe and Charlie. So like I understand people's frustration with it. It just like annoys me so much that the fans fight each other over these situations. And not
that's
just
where
calling out the company.
Frustration with it, I think, is that the blame never goes where it needs to go. Like it's always the fans fighting each other over the pairings instead of being like, hey, our company didn't know how to write a show with 5 couples in it and certain actors like got shifted by that or something like that. And that's what's frustrating, I think, about it, is that like all the anger is never directed in the right place and they just direct it at the fans, just directed at each other instead. One of the things I wanted to say about Pit Babe is that I remember before the show started, like when the trailer started dropping, we had some, like I saw some people saying that like they wished the second season would have shifted a different couple into like the main role. Because they felt like Charlie and Babe's story had largely been completed in the first season. So maybe the second season could focus on Silab and Pawn's characters or just shift Charlie and Babe to a smaller role because maybe there wasn't as much development needed from them in the second season compared to the other characters. So that's interesting to think about in light of you saying that like a lot of their scenes did end up being NC scenes versus like scenes that had relationship or character development going on.
Yeah, a lot of their scenes also had to do with this like pseudo Babe cheating plot with
Willie,
the other
yeah.
character Willie. I hate Willie. Oh my god, I hate Willie so much. But yeah, a lot of the scenes were also those like, I guess,
did you cheat on me?
he's
like
not
kind
really
of stuff.
cheating. He's actually being assaulted, but everyone's calling it cheating for some reason.
Yeah. But isn't this like the issue we have with the whole discourse around screen time for shipping couples in shows? Like when they wrote Pit Babe 2, they should have switched up the main couple because Pavel and Poe's characters have had their big moments, and it would have been so much nicer to just see their domesticated lives it pop up in between all the other drama. Instead, it would have given so much more, and it would been more enjoyable for everyone watching. Although with all the discourse now, people would complain about that too, but
I also, part of me wonders how much it has to do with like sponsorships and funding too. Because like, are the companies that are sponsoring them saying like, we need Pavel and Pooh to be the main draw of the show?
I do think that probably factors in.
But at that point, I'm just like, give them a new show then. Like, don't.
Well, they did that too. They also have a new show coming. Yeah.
Yeah, there was also a lot of discourse about the whole pit babe thing. Honestly, I was just like, whatever, that's fine.
Yeah.
Have your discourse.
And I hate the discourse and the arguments and everything, because I'm not hugely a part of shipping culture, but I really enjoy actors. And I feel so sorry for these actors who are just doing their best, having their fans arguing with each other.
Right. Again, like, they're all friends. Like, these casts love each other. And it must suck to, like, come online and see, like, all of your fans, like, beefing with each other all the time.
Like,
yeah. And then you almost, I think, you probably almost feel like you have to apologize. Online and in real life.
Yeah. And they do sometimes, and it's so heartbreaking, because they're just doing their job, doing their best, working really hard, and they're getting this shit, and it's not their fault.
Yeah. Well, we did touch on Only Friends already, but we know that social media was a war zone when that series was going on. Everyone fighting. First Cowtongue fans, Forcebook fans. Neo and Ron characters came in and stirred up.
I'll be honest, I wasn't paying attention to people while I was watching that show. I was enjoying the drama in the show. I'm just like, you guys can have your drama. I'm watching this.
I had to, like, that was like one of the times where I was like, I don't want to be on social media. Like, when the episodes of this show aired, I was like, me running the LoveCast social media accounts right now, not fun, because every time you open the account, it's like, you and Top should have had this, Ray and San should have had this is better than this. And it was just like, it gets to the point, like, and I talked about this when we did like a live stream talking about Only Friends. It genuinely impacted my enjoyment of the show the more the show went on, and I just found myself, like, clocking out of the show completely because I was frustrated with the discourse around the show and the ships in the show. And that sucks because, like, I mean, Only Friends had its faults that we've talked about extensively, but, like, I was enjoying it for the messiness and the ensemble cast and everything that it was offering with that. And then the discourse, like, really just got to the point where I was like, I need to clock out of this show completely because it's not enjoyable to see these discussions every time I'm watching an episode.
Oh, yeah. I only have fond memories of Only Friends because I wasn't paying attention to what people were thinking. Like, I was in my own little bubble watching that show.
Yeah.
You know, I knew the discourse was bad because it infiltrated my stuff, and I literally only follow Z and new stuff. Like, only follow official accounts, and it infiltrated my
that's the thing with, like, running a LoveCast social media. I am always exposed to beef that, like, I don't want to be exposed to. Like, my For You page is always just, like, fandoms beefing because we follow all of these different, like, artists and shows on that account. But yeah, it was a time, and I felt really frustrated with fandom while watching that show. And I think it happened to a lesser extent during the Heart Killers too. Definitely to a lesser extent, but I did still see that discourse from time to time that, like, June Dunk June Dunk deserved this, or First Cow deserved this. And it's another one where it's like, we know how close the casts are, so it's always crazy to see that infighting happening. But yeah, I'm not expecting it to be any better during Only Friends 2, and my faves are in Only Friends 2, so I'm gonna have to block everyone on Twitter while the show is airing.
Just retreat from the war zone. Yeah, I can only imagine what it'll be like. Two other examples that people in my comments mentioned are Shine and Revenge Love. Both of them I can't speak to, but apparently there's been a lot of fighting over screen time distribution in both of those shows too. And I believe it because people were arguing in my comments about it.
I have
and
seen
like,
some
no,
inklings
this, no,
about
that.
Shine. I have seen some inklings about Shine on social media, but neither of them are shows I've watched / have been watching.
Yeah, I haven't watched Shine yet, just the two first episodes, but I did watch Revenge Love, and I don't get it. Like, the second couple is a second couple. Like, they're getting a second couple amount of screen time. I
And that is the synthesis of this whole discussion, I feel like. The second couple gets second couple screen time. Yeah. It's interesting because I feel like
the whole show is drawn out and too long, but that's another discussion.
Yeah. 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 There will always be beef. I feel like some interesting examples to talk about are shows like Perfect 10-liners or Love in the Air, where the decision was made to give each couple, like, it was an ensemble show or a show with two pairings in the case of Love in the Air, but like each couple was given, I think Perfect 10-liners, it was like 8 episodes, and then in Love in the Air they each had 7. So I think that's an interesting way of doing it. I did not watch Perfect 10-liners, to everyone's shock. I know Uboom were in it. We've talked about it before. But yeah, I think that seemed to be, like, compared to seeing the discussions around We Are, which I think is the ensemble show it gets compared to, it seemed like people preferred that type of, like, story distribution where like, okay, this couple gets this arc, this couple gets this arc, and you could almost watch them as their own individual 8-episode stories.
That's what I was while I was watching Perfect 10-liners, because I was afraid it was going to be like We Are, because We Are to me was too much information overload, too many people, I can't keep up. But Perfect 10-liners, they sort of sectioned everything off. You get to know all the characters. All the characters are there for all the time, but the main focus, like the main couple, gets switched for each like section, and I really like that. I think like the show did the whole ensemble, whole like multiple characters, and did that so well. Like there are other things that I can like think isn't that the best in the show, but how they sectioned it and did the whole screen time dividing, great.
Yeah, it was interesting because we had a lot of people in our comments at that time saying like, oh, you don't even have to watch like the first 8 episodes or like these 8 episodes. You can just like, everyone was like, just watch the section with Uboom in it. And I was like, in my brain, I can't do that because like it's all one show. So like if I was going to watch it, I have to watch the whole 24 episodes.
Yeah.
But it was interesting that they like existed almost as individual stories within one big show.
I mean, you will be a little bit confused, but like if you're watching the second main couples episode, like their story isn't impacted on what happened in the first part. So, but you still get like oh, what do you call it? Like bread crumbs from the first plot. So it
like
feels...
they kind of interconnect, so you know like this couple is also happening and they're gonna have their section later on, kind of.
Yeah, but you could watch like if you don't like 2 actors or whatever, just jump their story. It wouldn't impact the story as much, and that's really interesting how they managed to do that.
It's almost
I think it's
like
an interesting
anthology sort of.
Yeah, that's the word. Thank you.
Yeah, I guess in a scenario like that, you don't really have a main or side couple. It's just like you have this number of couples and they all kind of have their own stories that coexist.
They
Which I
kind
There
of
like
were
that
all
like
about
have
side
their
couples within like because like technically Ubum were a side couple within one of the main couples plot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but they show up in like
Interesting.
every like a side couple in every plot line. But yeah, it's
Interesting.
kind of like instead of having like a main couple, you have point of views. So you get it
Mm.
from the point of view of like a person or two people. So yeah, it's interesting. I like that way of storytelling. I think it's unique and I think it's well thought out. Um, which makes it because I think a lot of the shows nowadays are lazy. Like we've talked about, people like they're putting the shows out there too fast, not thinking through it. They're just going to earn money on it, and it's put together really lazily. So I really enjoyed how they did that. I didn't mind that there were so many episodes in the season, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it obviously wouldn't work for every show. Like that's
No.
something that would not work with
Yeah.
Only Friends because the point is they all hook up with each other.
Yeah.
But like it would be an interesting like way to see if maybe stuff like that is a way to still get like that ensemble show and kind of cut out some of the fandom fighting because
Yeah.
like they know like, hey, my couple is gonna eventually get this X number of episodes dedicated to their arc.
And if there's a couple I don't like, I can just skip it.
Also prevents like fighting in that way. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's
The
true.
compromise we needed.
Wait, that's true. I guess there was no fighting in the fandom. I'm sure someone found something to fight about.
Someone complained
Yeah,
about
there
something.
definitely still was, but I feel like it was to a lesser degree than you would
Yeah.
expect with a show of that cast size.
It didn't feel like people were taking it personally. Like they usually, when you see people complain or being negative of something, it sounds like they are taking it really personally. And yeah.
Right. But yeah, I tried to think of other examples of shows that I saw this type of discourse for, but honestly, the big ones were The Next Prince and Pit Babe.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the recent big two.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I wanted to round out on like kind of a lighter note. So I was like, what are some of our favorite side couples? Which I'm sure we've mentioned before, but we can give an updated answer. Who are mine? I don't know.
The magnum opus, who we've already mentioned multiple times for me, as Ram King. Like I feel like I said, I'm someone who doesn't often get attached to secondary couples. Like even when I think about like Ubum, they're like a ship I really like and they've always played secondary couples. Like when I think about the shows they've been in, they haven't always been my favorite pairing in the show. I mean, vice versa, they were barely in that show, so like that's something to say. But like I think I enjoyed them a lot in Memoir of Rati, and that's like kind of the first show where I feel like their characters have felt enjoyable as the side characters to me, if that makes sense. So I liked Mech and Deck in Memoir of Rati for a more recent example. The other one I've talked about a lot is V and Dome from You're My Sky, which was the almost cheating couple. I was so compelled by that pairing when that show was on air, and I still think about the potential of them to this day. And like they were one of those couples that had kind of that ambiguous ending. Yeah, I really enjoyed them when that show was airing.
Yeah. Yeah, I think for me, like you mentioned, Rom King is always going to be like they got away. Like the one that got away.
Yeah.
Like I vow that I will write their story. No. I will get a show on that is Ram King. No, I am obsessed with them. I was also obsessed with Win Team before Between Us. Yeah, lately I like of the more recent shows, I don't really think that there are any side couples that have really engaged me. And well, I did enjoy Ramil and Paitai in the beginning. But like I said, I think that they didn't develop well. So yeah, I don't really know if I have anything else that not anything that's stuck.
I mean, same with Ram King. I think Ram King is also my big one. Just everyone loves Ram King. Ram King are universally beloved by BL fans.
Yes.
But I've mentioned before that I don't usually latch on to the secondary couple. But the other one that I can think of is I still really love Tantai and T in Laws of Attraction. They hit. And that's another one where I'm like, I felt like I was teased by them because I kind of wanted more, but at the same time, if there was more, like, what would it have been? I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
But oh, they're so good. The whole bodyguard, you already know. The whole bodyguard thing. It's too much for me.
Yeah, we do like bodyguard stuff. Yeah.
The bodyguard trope will always hit. Oh, fucking Milk and Love and Bad Buddy. Jesus Christ. Literally launched GMMTV, GL for GMMTV, Ink and Paw were their characters' names. But yeah, I mean, I love them. I loved the realization of knowing that like GMMTV was finally going to give us a GL couple, even as a side couple. That was like kind of like a momentous thing, I feel like, for GMMTV. I feel like the other big one that we'll probably see a lot in our comments, and this show also kind of had some discourse around it as well, Heart and Li Ming and Moonlight Chicken.
Oh, yes. I did love them.
They were my favorite part of the
show.
Yeah, I think that's a common sentiment for a lot of people. I don't think like the discourse was as strong as like some of the other shows that we've talked about, but I do remember seeing like some of those comments about like the different couples in the show. Even First and Cowtongue's characters, who like their relationship was really only implied to be starting at the very end of the show, had some discussion around it too. But Heart and Li Ming was also one I really enjoyed as a side couple.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. But yeah. Any other? We talked about a lot per usual. I'm always like, oh, this might be a short episode, and then we talk
right.
No, that's not happening.
I don't think we can do short episodes.
No. Sorry to anyone who might be hoping for that. I don't think.
No.
We have an hour minimum requirement for LoveCast.
But yeah, did anyone have any final thoughts? I think we covered everything, but
let's just have a good time watching these shows. That's the be all end all of. These shows are meant for enjoyment, not for fighting and discourse and everything else that seems to be coming with them lately.
Yep.
Yeah. It's really not that deep sometimes.
Yeah, it really isn't.
Even if it feels like it is, it's usually not.
But yeah, that's it for our episode this week. Let us know what your thoughts are on this topic. I feel like, what's the word? It's a very contentious one, and it's definitely still a hot topic. Like, it has not died down. People are still fighting about shows like The Next Prince and screen time distribution and shows in general, even ongoing shows. But also, what is your favorite side couple? I would like to know. I feel like as soon as I ask a question like that, I suddenly forget every side couple that exists.
Literally, I'm like, what shows have I watched? Who do I know?
Let us know who else there is that we didn't mention. But yeah, if you enjoyed this episode, please like, comment, and subscribe. And while you're at it, why not share this episode with your friends? It all really helps us out. And you can also check out our Patreon for early access to episodes, reviews. We started our revamped recaps, so we already had a lot to say about that show. But yeah, just a lot of exclusive content over there, so check it out. But that's all we have for you guys this week. So until next time, bye.
Bye-bye.